Happy Monday. It is Good Ass Feed, and I bring you a interesting hot sauce from the depths and the bowels even of the sauce cabinet. It's been there for some time. This is Matouk's West Indian hot sauce that I picked up from Tim's Oriental Market in San Antonio, Texas. They have some other international stuff, not strictly Oriental, and they have quite a few Caribbean products, and this is a Caribbean brand. Matouk has got quite a few like international themed hot sauces, but and I have another one I'm going to try. But anyway, this one I was intrigued because the first ingredient is papaya, and I dig papaya, but I haven't had that much papaya, so I'm looking to broaden my papaya horizons, and now we get to today. But yeah, we got papaya, aged pickled scotch bonnets, water, modified cornstarch, prepared mustard, spices, onion powder, lactic acid, garlic powder, potassium sorbate, and color. Yellow number 5. Okay, so a little bit of funny business, and I'm not the world's biggest fan of cornstarch in my sauces. I think the mouthfeel is slightly disappointing. Like, it's not the end of the world, but you know, I eat a lot of hot sauce, and I tend to find that cornstarch has kind of a sameness, sliminess to it almost. Ooh, it does smell good though. Intriguing. There's a lot of different colors of chunks in here. And man, that really smells nice. It does smell like papaya a fair bit. Like, papaya's got kind of a fruity but musky smell to it that I really enjoy. And this follows that with the pickled scotch bonnets have a little bit of a unique, slightly almost fermented but not quite aroma, but they still have that scotch bonnet savoriness. Actually goes really well with the papaya. And then behind it, you definitely get garlic and onion. And I feel like there's a lot of spices going on in the background. But the predominant one is the garlic right there. So you get this really nice, like, tropical fruit muskiness with, like, savory but citrusy scotch bonnet. And then the pickling. And then garlic. That's good. I like that. And then backing it all up is this pretty pungent, like, mustardiness to it. Cheers, YouTube. Whoa. That's very intense on a number of levels. It's like very salty, and it's very pickled, so it's very tart, and it's pretty. This is pretty hot too. Damn, man. Actually, yeah, this is pretty. This is pretty hot. That's a nice taste, and the papaya is really more of like the canvas the things are painted on, rather than like the star of the show, I think. Between the papaya and the between the papaya and the cornstarch, it's a little bit slimy. It reminds me of the texture of boiled okra a little bit, with no okra inside. I'm not big on that. I don't like the texture very much. That being said, the flavor's pretty good. I like it. And I think in the right setting, like, this is too potent on a number of levels to be eating by itself, just from like the saltiness and the vinegariness of it. But if you put this with, I think of like charred pork, you know, or like char grilled chicken, like pollo al carbon, I think would be really good with this. Because I think that char would be, anything in the rich and fattiness would be offset by the salt and the vinegar, and then the heat would lift it up. I could see if you're at like a Brazilian steakhouse and you wanted to take this flavor and pair it with all of this different swords of meat that come by, that would be a nice experience. But the mouthfeel is a little gross. Like, I feel like it would take something away if I ate it with like steak, because steak has like this amazing texture. This has a genuinely kind of gross texture because it's just a little slimy. But that's too bad, because the taste would work really well. I think the texture would let it down. I could see cutting it somehow, maybe with oil or something, to make like a salad dressing or a marinade out of this. I think it would make a really good marinade. I'm gonna try that actually. But as a sauce, like, everything's great. I dig it all, but the texture is just kind of a little, you know, it kind of flops out of the bottle. Like, okay, like if you get Chinese takeout, right, and you get like lemon sauce with your lemon chicken or sweet and sour sauce or any of those like cornstarch based, you know what I'm talking about, like Americanized Chinese food sauces. And then like, let's say you had that lemon chicken and then you're done with it. And then like a couple hours later, you come back to the lemon sauce and it's kind of like coagulated a little bit and you kind of need to heat it up to like loosen. I think if you heated this up, it would fix the texture because the cornstarch would let go a little bit and then it would be more like a sauce. So maybe that's the trick, is to warm it up a little bit, because the way it is, it's kind of goopy. Yeah. First thing that hits your mouth is this like really slimy texture. And it goes away pretty quick. It doesn't hang around. And then it tastes nice. And I like the pickled peppers a lot. But that first moment is very slippery. I'm not big on that. Man, it's too bad. I feel like if you take the cornstarch out, like if you're just content to have it a little bit looser, or maybe if you use more papaya, you'd end up with a really killer sauce because it tastes really good. It's just that texture is nasty, man. So yeah, for the money, I mean, should you try it? Yeah, I think so. Like, it tastes really good, and it's an idea if you wanted to make something at home. Like, I'm curious now to like pickle some peppers and make a mustard sauce like this, and just not use the cornstarch, but to use something like papaya. You know, I might have to. Yeah, I'm really intrigued by this, and it tastes so good that I really want to replicate it without that, like, what I think is a large amount of cornstarch. Just too much because it just feels gross. But yeah, other than that, like, it is good. Like, it really is. And I feel like if you use it as a cooking additive, you know, in stews, in sauces, in marinades, in salad dressing, in anything really, the texture would not be an issue. And so there's a lot of value in the bottle. It's just as like a condiment. I don't know, because that texture is kind of blech. But maybe warming it up. Anyway, heat level. This is probably a good 6. Like, it's pretty hot. It's still hanging around. It's still pretty warm. It's got my ears a little bit still, but it had them pretty good for a couple minutes. I get my tear ducts. Like, I don't have tears, but you start to get this, like, it starts here, like mustache pain, and then it kind of works its way up here. If it were a little bit hotter, I'd be crying. But yeah, I put it like a 6. So it's good and hot, and it's got a nice taste. Yeah. So if you're looking for like a cooking additive that's very potent and very hot, this isn't that expensive. It was like $5. It's a big bottle. What is it? 12 ounces? 10. But it's like, so it's 2 bottles of hot sauce basically. For $5, so it's like $2.50 if you put it, you know, by volume up against like the normal 5-ounce bottles that you see. It's not very expensive. Yeah, so if you're looking for a cooking additive, there you go. It's a really good one, and I'm curious to try the other Matouk sauce that I have to see if it's that same scenario. I really hope I can find one of theirs that doesn't have so much cornstarch, because that's the only thing between this and being really, really good is that cornstarch. Anyway, yeah, so do I recommend? Yeah, for the money. I mean, if you come across it, yeah, I'd grab it. I don't know that I'd use it as a condiment. I think I'd use it as a cooking additive. But it is good, and it's pretty dang hot. It has a nice, unique flavor with the papaya that I'm going to try to replicate. Yeah, interesting one. First West Indian hot sauce I think I've had. Now I must have more, because I bet they don't all do that with the cornstarch. And then I think it's time to properly enjoy this beer in mere moments. So yeah, now it's still on fire a little bit, but it's getting better. And this is from the lovely, most beautiful city in the entire universe, San Antonio, Texas. This is from Freetail, which I had Pilsner from theirs, I think, last week on here. This is another one. I've been seeing new beers from them popping up at the HEB, so I've been trying them. And this is Slow Flow, which they describe as a session IPA, which is really kind of my preference when it comes to IPAs. I like them because that session to me denotes that we're gonna back off like the ascent of Hop Mountain and just let you drink for a bit with hops, but not like as the star. And I kind of appreciate that. Also because you're not so alcoholic. My nose is still hot. But the other thing was like This can is real subtle, but I love those freaking pops of color on the black and white can down at the bottom. That's really cool. So I was taken in. And what you end up with is an agitated cat. I'm sorry, buddy. Something like, it tastes a hell of a lot like Sierra Nevada Pale Ale to me. And I like Sierra Nevada. I used to drink a lot of Sierra Nevada. That used to be my regular, really, when I was on bitter beer all the time. And this reminds me of Sierra Nevada. Like, it kind of goes straight to the bitterness. Like, there's not a ton of, I guess, does it say what kind of hops are going on here? No. Yeah, it sure doesn't. No, no information. So if I had to guess, I would say it's, there's more citrusy hops and there's more spicy hops. That's as sophisticated as my layperson's explanation is going to get. This citrusy hops, I think, are like, well, they're real trendy right now. All these fruity, like fresh squeezed IPA from Deschutes and like a lot of New Belgium beers. Like there's a lot of citrusy IPAs or citrusy hops at work. And then there's more of the spicy hops, which are kind of like what I'm tasting here. They're a little more peppery and a little more bitter, a little more sharp, and they don't have as much friendliness to them. They're gonna, but they're really crisp and clean, and it doesn't hang around in your palate a long time. I find that beer like this is harder to pair with stuff. Citrusy hops kind of get along better with salads and lighter foods, grilled foods. Like they kind of fit in Mexican food. It fits. This is more like, to me, I need like a steak or something stout, something rich, Swedish meatballs. I don't know how I'm craving that. That's why I put some random thing, but I really want some Swedish meatballs right now. But you need more rich, beefy, peppery type flavors to go with it. And so in that setting, I think this would be pretty good. And as a session beer, it's not bad. It's 4%, so you can drink a few. But I don't know that it's interesting. So I don't mind bitterness. Like, I'm cool with it. I like it. But it's got to come with something interesting. Like, it's got to come with some flavor experience, right? For me to be worth it. Or I'd rather just have the bitterness not there, because it does kind of numb your palate to other things anyway. This is one of those that kind of like Sierra Nevada. I got tired of it after a while because I was like, it doesn't really it doesn't give me much back. The more you drink, if you have 2 or 3, it takes more from your sense of taste than it gives. And then you end up kind of ruining your flavor experiences for the next couple hours through the beer. And so if I'm going to do that, I want it to like give me something on its own, and I think I like, Ballast Point is a good brewery for that. They have some really, really good, like Sculpin, really good IPAs that are really bitter and will leave your mouth like numb for like 2 hours after you drink a couple of them. But they taste so good that it's fine. At least it's worth it. And then there's stuff like Sierra Nevada where it does the same thing after a while, but it doesn't really give you like that super interesting flavor experience, if that makes any sense. This is kind of like that. So it's better, it's nice, it's clean, it's sharp. Like it's a good session beer, but I feel like if you have 4 or 5 of these, not that I'm condoning binge drinking, but if you did, you probably wouldn't even be able to taste your pizza anymore, because it's just that kind of like numbing type of hops to me. Maybe that's just me, but I find some hops to be like that. And so if it were a little more interesting, I think I could get behind it more. Like, it's not bad. I'm going to enjoy drinking it, but I've had a 6-pack for a week, and I have, this is number 3. And other beers have come and gone as it's sat in the fridge. So it's not bad, but I don't think it's one I would buy again necessarily, just because it's bitter and it's clean, it's nice, but it doesn't give me enough, for me to put 10, 11 bucks on a 6-pack, I need a little more than that, because there's just a lot of really good beer competition, especially in Texas. Like, it's tough. You're competing with Shiner and Sierra Nevada and St. Arnold, and Real Ale. Like, there's a lot of real serious, very good brewing that goes on in Texas. And so it just reminds me of a lot of free-tailed beer where it's not that interesting, but it is very bitter. This is less bitter, but also not very interesting. So it's fine. It's fine. I got my money's worth, but I'm not going to go. I probably wouldn't buy it again. I'd probably try something I hadn't. It's kind of a rating point, I find, where I liked something. it was fine, but I would sooner take my chances on something unknown than buy it again. And so it's not that I'm like, I'm never buying that again, but it's like, man, if it's there next to something I haven't had, I'm probably going to give that other thing a shot. You know, because it's like, I don't know, this is a deep dive for Dallas Cowboys fans, but it's like Quincy Carter, you know, like he was okay. Like he was an okay quarterback, but man, the second something better rolled around, we're on that because, you know, what are you doing for me here? Anyway, yeah, so all in all, a couple of tacit partial recommendations for you. Really good flavor, kind of icky texture, but I really think a great cooking additive. And then a kind of neither here nor there, but a little bit expensive local beer that it's fine, serviceable, workmanlike. Yeah. Maybe a better analogy would be like Steve Berline. This is a really old Cowboys reference, but I mean, you could start him. You could. You might not lose. It'll be all right. It wouldn't be the end of the world, but you ain't going to do it twice. Definitely not going to want to do it twice. Yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. Click subscribe if you haven't already. We do spicy stuff, hot sauces. We do drink beer, talk about flavor experiences. And on Fridays, we do, you know, a little something different every now and then. And many other things besides. If there's any other kind of content you're interested in, let me know. I've kind of dabbled here and there, and I've got a couple of ideas for some new things that we're going to try. But let me know what you think. What do you want to see? Do you want to see the world's first full immersion virtual reality being Chunn for a day experience? I don't have the technology to do that. That would be pretty boring actually, because there's a lot of sitting around that I do. A lot of dishes too. But yeah, click the bell. You'll be notified every time there's a new piece of content for you to consume on your favorite rectangular electronic internet device. And click like if you enjoyed this video where Turdcat was actually surprisingly peaceful most of the time. He's been a little hard to wrangle the last few, but look at him. He's just joking. You okay, bud? You feeling all right? Maybe he's sleepy. Yeah. Hope you have a great Monday night, and I will catch you Wednesday for another flavor adventure on Good Ass Feed.